What's good, everyone? I wanted to try something new today and just kind of switch things up from, typical runs and showcases and whatnot. I wanted to try out a no-item tight disadvantage team on the most current Dokkan event, which for this one will be the Transforming Janemba unit. So as you saw, I pretty much just, brought in a bunch of AGL type units, Extreme AGL to be exact, because the last event or last stage of this Dokkan event will be the tech type. So just in order to just fully have a type disadvantage setting, I decided to go through that. Now there are a couple of other stages within level 4 that are either tech types or intelligence or AGL types. It all depends on the specific battle, but I did want to focus and make sure at least all of my units will be in a type disadvantage setting at the very last battle of the stage itself. So again, I didn't really think about it much. I just took a glance at, my units between super type and extreme types and just ultimately decided to go with this format. Again, just a quick glance and quick thinking of, the types of units I wanted to bring in and just kind of set up a team with that. So I did bring in the Super 17 EZA as lead. I mean, it's a pretty phenomenal unit after receiving the EZA, but from a leader skill standpoint, after the EZA, the guy provides extreme AGL types key +3, HP attack and defense increase 130%. So, I didn't want to go full category teams necessarily within the AGL types. I kind of wanted to keep it, lesser amount as much as possible. And then for the friend lead, looking for a 17, lead is it's a pretty extraordinary task to say the least. So I went ahead and went with a EZA LR, or not LR, but the AGL Rose friend lead. And upon the EZA for that unit, it'll be extreme type key +4, HP attack and defense increase of 80%. So, whenever you're seeing some of the numbers on here, just keep in mind it's a combination of, the 130% lead and also the 80% extreme type lead. So I did scale this down quite a bit. Honestly, kind of looking back on it now, I probably could have scaled this back a little bit more, but first time pass on this type of different content, I figured it'd be okay. So in terms of the rotations themselves, I kind of had rough ideas of what I wanted to do, but predominantly, the meta cooler and the world tournament final form cooler, I wanted them to be paired up on one rotation. Then I was kind of on the fence whether I wanted to just link up the 17 to Rose or have the Zamasu and Rose actual rotation. But I think I've ultimately just kind of switched around and just basically having some fun essentially. And then a couple of units like Turles are also included. Basically all the other units outside of those that I just called out are pretty much supporting units on the rotation, so to speak, as more or less floaters. That's the way I would look at it. So again, ultimately this is it just comes down to having fun a little bit, just trying things out. I wasn't sure how difficult the event would be with a type disadvantage setting with no items available, so I kind of wanted to try this out. Looking back on it in hindsight, it was definitely a little bit easier than I expected it to be. I thought I would die several times trying this out, but first time pass I was able to record a clear. So I mean, to that extent, I guess it does depend on the types of units and team builds and also the skill sets within each unit in terms of how easy or hard this approach would be. But again, more or less, I just wanted to have fun a little bit, just kind of take a break from the typical 100% max level link showcases and just covering the news in general. Just kind of take a step back and try and provide something a little bit different. So I think what I'm actually going to do going forward is probably do some sort of variation of this whenever a new Dokkan event comes out. Maybe I'll go ahead and do it for the AGL Paikuhan and just bring in type disadvantage units for that. I think what's going to be interesting about that though is the last battle on that stage. I think it's two different types, right? Because it's two different enemies. So I think one's the AGL, which should be Paikuhan, and the physical type, which should be the Gogeta unit. I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but I don't know. Point being, I might try that out and see how that works out. Maybe in a couple days, whatever. If you guys like this, type of different content, and it seems like the reception's relatively good for this, then I'll shoot for the Paikuhan version of the Dokkan event and try and clear that with a type disadvantage setting as well as no item consumption. So, we'll go from there. But I think it'll be kind of a cool little thing to test out, instead of just running through the Dokkan event itself. Obviously, unless you're a new player or severely lacking units, the Dokkan events nowadays are relatively easy. I mean, for every single one, even like the new ones, they're pretty easy to be able to clear it. I mean, it's essentially for the metal grind anyway, so I'm sure it was engineered to be not overly difficult. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I'll plan on doing that. It should be kind of fun to test out every new Dokkan event in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll shoot for that going down the road. Now I will say this: at this point in the recording, when I was running through this, I kind of regretted bringing the metal cooler because of the transformation. Obviously, it's very time consuming, and the ability to collect keys is a little bit of an issue sometimes. I think I ultimately brought metal cooler because, one, that's obviously one of my favorite units in the game, so every excuse I have, I'm going to run that guy on a team. But it's all about just building up the attack based on every attack received, and also the ability to reduce attack and defense on the enemy if applicable. But I wanted to pair up the World Tournament Final Form cooler too. Honestly, I could have brought the EZA AGL cooler, which is from the Baba shop. That would have been kind of a cool unit to test out too, I guess. But either way, a lot of this stuff is just kind of, you think about it for a quick minute or two and just kind of dive right in and start testing it out. So it's not like I went through several different runs to get this video. I literally just went in one time, recorded, and just see what happens, and this is pretty much what you see here. So again, nothing special, but just wanted to switch things up a little bit and have a little fun ultimately. So yeah, I mean, the only thing I regret is probably bringing the metal cooler. I probably could have brought a little bit better of a unit that wouldn't waste as much time on literally 3 different rotations just with the giant form version of metal cooler. So a little bit of a waste of time, but I guess it did conserve HP to a certain level, right? Because Janemba did super a couple of times, so maybe that ultimately did save me more or less than wasted time, I guess, per se, but who knows. But anyways, this is the quick video with the type disadvantage no item run on the latest Dokkan event, which will be the Janemba one. If you want me to try it out with the Paikuhan event, I'll go ahead and do that. Just let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in. All right, with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.